out here.
Hi, my name is Carlos. I travel, I tattoo, and I take it all in. One country at a time, one tattoo at a time. Travel is what inspires me. Tattooing is what guides me. This is how I interpret the world. This is the global canvas.
What is up, folks? Welcome back. We got another exciting day of background plotting today. I want to say as boring as this step is, it's not boring. This is like one of my favorite parts of doing paintings is blocking in the out of focus stuff. You can see, well, if you can see, you can see some of the work that we did last night, blocking this in. This is already dry to the touch, which is crazy. But tonight, we're going to work on this section here. So, let's do that. Sweet. And I think what I'm going to do is start from the middle here and work my way that way, just because that's where we left off yesterday. Cleaned my brushes really good last night, so we're good there. Still got my palette. I had it in my airtight box overnight, so hopefully everything's still wet and workable. But without further ado, let's jump back in. Oh yeah, good stuff. This is the spice of life right here. It's actually kind of fresh because the Red Wings are playing tonight. So right after this stream is over, I will be jumping in and watching that hockey game. This is really exciting because like my favorite time of the year is hockey time, and we're finally in our hockey season after such a long summer. But our games are only like every other day or so, sometimes 2-3 days between games, and I get so lonely and I miss my hockey. But now that I'm working on this painting, it's like hockey every day. And that sounds silly and it sounds cheesy because it is, and it is. Okay. So, mixing up the tones. My palette, you can't really see it in the stream here, but the palette I have pre-mixed all the tones that I need for the background. I did that like a week ago almost. Just sat and mixed. We're blurring out the background, so any type of tone that we're putting down right now, because they're going to be pushed into each other, once we blur and obliterate everything, once we do all that, they're going to be merging anyway, so I'm going to be not fully cleaning my brush when I go to mix up and jump into adjacent tones. If you hear a little bit of excess noise on tonight's stream, it's because we're having my daughters are having a sleepover. My eldest. You say oldest or eldest? Is that a mark of class? I don't know. Look that up. I don't want to be a snob. This painting, like the whole process of doing this, is something that I would just be doing anyway and having a blast on my own. It's so much more fun doing it and recording it for posterity, for future educational purposes. I mean, like, I'm not the world's greatest art teacher, I never claimed to be. But I do get to drop a few words of wisdom artistically speaking here, so it's fun to share with y'all. Whether you're here right now or you're watching on the VOD, it's good to have you around. Yeah, this is exciting. I'm gonna jump back and fill in this little spot in between now that I have that all blocked in over there. Curious what I'm looking at when I glance away. I have a printout of the painting on paper, so to get my drawing here, I printed the entire reference photo which you can see in the stream above us. And I put like a little zoom. Yeah, I got a zoom over the section that we're working on right now, right below that. But I printed that whole thing out on several sheets of paper, taped it all together to make one gigantic duplicate, and then put carbon paper behind it and dropped it on and then traced over the printout to get our drawing. It's not typically the way I would do things, but for this painting style, it's exactly how we're going to approach this. So that's what we're doing. I do enjoy finding the drawing of the painting as I'm setting up and getting into it, but this works too. It's a different style, but on this channel, this is part of what I'm doing, is all the different styles of oil painting. So right now we're doing a more direct method, meaning putting down brush strokes, blending, and then not coming back because we've already finished section by section. If you want to see a layered approach and developing as we go, you can check out my first series playlist. And then after this painting is done, we're going to pick up a completely different style of application. So stick around, it's going to be fun. My neck is shot from doing tattooing this week. Every once in a while, it's always like on the side of the arm, but every once in a while I have to hold a position while I'm tattooing that's just so uncomfortable. And it wrenches my neck and it throws it out for like the next week. So this will be a fun adventure this week. It's gonna be interesting when I try to blend this transition together, because this is all set up already from last night. I mean, it's dry to the touch. It's still wet for, you know, the purposes of like, we're not gonna varnish because it's not ready to be varnished. It'll have to, that's normally a 1 to 3 month process to wait for it to fully set up for varnishing, but it's gonna be an interesting way to transition that and make it not look like 2 different days. But that's how this goes. Just like dropping down blocks of color where I see them, bands of color where I see it, and then the final, and it's like, it's gonna take us an hour and a half to drop in all these tones before we get to that really super satisfying part where we get to blend it all together, and that's like the final moment of the painting and the most enjoyable part. Obliterating edges and blending this all into oblivion. Does oblivion and obliterate, yeah, those words have to be fully linked, right? There's a indication of another human being. Use a different brush for the flesh tones tonight. Not different from my first session, but different from the one that I'm dropping these blues down with, because I do not want to get them too muddy. Dropping in color. Sorry, getting all quiet. I'm eavesdropping on the conversation going on sleepover night for the kiddos. Hopefully you guys are doing good out there. Saturday night. Hockey night. Not usually this quiet on stream. Normally I have some people in the chat to talk with. But I'm just gonna enjoy the process. somebody drops in, I'll say what's up. If not, I'll experiment with just being a little quiet tonight. Those are all the fleshy tones in this subsection, so I'm going to go back to this other brush now and just start closing gaps. Still checking my reference, still trying to stay loosely in the same color family here. There's a fair amount of forgiveness in the background section of any painting. In this, you know, especially in the early stages when you're trying to find the painting still. But I'm pretty good at color matching. That's actually been one of my strongest suits throughout my oil painting career. So this will be pretty accurate to at least my printout down here. I'm not going off of the reference, the backlit reference that's above my head right now on the stream. I'm not going off of that. I find the light coming through the screen creating that reference image can create an impossible to close gap between backlit screen and white canvas. So the printout flattens that out, makes it a little bit more manageable, more obvious what color is supposed to go where. It's essentially a gigantic paint by number, but we have to use a lot of artistic skill and focus for the paint, for the subsections that we're filling. So, in that sense, it's pretty chill, obvious process. It's just paint by number, but paint by number with the caveat of creating texture and making sure to have direction of light. I mean, obviously, if I just filled these sections in with just splotches of solid color without any kind of blending or actual painting going on, it's not going to look right. It would kind of look like a posterized, like Photoshop, instead of the look and feel of an oil paint. This little spot I have it open right now, I'm going to close it, but it's like a lighter, whiter tone, if you guys can see that in the background on the reference. It's not white, but it has like a whiteness to it. I want to make sure to nail that. Did I nail the whiteness to it? Who's to say? It's between the canvas and God. Okay, moving on, upward and onwards. I like these tones because it's all, like, obviously this is all out of focus, what's going on up here, right? But there is a little bit of a method to it. So these are people in the stands, and there's some huge depth of field diffusion going on. But we know the shape of a person's head. We know the shape of the broadness of shoulders and whatnot. And this looks like maybe like a female who's wearing a hockey jersey back there. And then this is another head in front of that person. This egg feels huge though, it feels like a big old head, fat noggin. So might adjust that, might not. We'll see. We shall see. There's a little bit more purple in here than blues. But yeah, so because these are people in the stands, we get the bonus of knowing that these are Tampa Bay Lightning jerseys, which helps me dial in the right tones for what those jerseys would look like, even if they're mega out of focus. If you're watching, if you're a Tampa Bay fan, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to watch 20 plus hours of the Red Wings beating the crap out of the Lightning. I'm not worried about it. I'm sorry for you. Killer. We got a section connected to last night, so now we can move on with all new paint moving this way. Still mixing up. Just kind of buffing these in, and these will all get obliterated together in the end when I can use very large blending strokes rather than the tight little ones. The tight little blends, like in here, I'll use a very small blending brush, but to blend out this background, we're using a big giant gesso brush, like a 4-inch gesso brush. Like I said, that comes later. And it's a really fun part of the process. I'm excited every time. Black destroyed. I'm gonna bust the chromatic value down here because I don't want it to be too contrasty. As things get diffused, some of the contrast disappears. Not all of it, but some of it. It's dark. A little bit of a lighter purpley gray. Likely another human being back there, even though it's very focused. Likely another face in the crowd. Okay. So it looks like this line on the boards runs right through there. That's what that line is. No, that's the top of the glove. Ah, it's more tangential. Okay, so there's going to be a little bit of blue peeking out, but the rest of this is still behind the glass. Let me drop in that little bright spot of blue first, just to get that out of the way. Not bright blue at all. Get some of this pigment off my brush. A big old nasty gray brush for mixing up all those weird tones. Let's try that. Now we can start moving on. Perfecto. Like I said, this is actually going to be part of the glove, and we really want to get the entire background chunked in before we even bother painting any foreground details. Not a bone in my body that wants to work on any of this until all of the background is done. It's nice to knock out this background in the beginning session of the painting because it's gonna save us some boredom later on. And it'll really, like, I have the tendency to rush the background at the last minute if I already have all the cool stuff painted. Like if I've already had all the fun, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be laborish finishing, laborish. It's gonna be laborious finishing up the painting. So I'll just like whiz through the background. You don't want to do that. We want to give it the time and justice that it needs. And it deserves. Hey, yeah, what's up, Tyree? Good to see you. Welcome to the chat. This is definitely a big painting. This is what I've been looking forward to. The original photograph I'm working off of is not my picture. It's from a photographer that covers for the Free Press. And after this painting is all said and done, I'm going to contact them, show them the painting, and get a quote, maybe do an interview. Yes, we're going big this time around. How you been, man? look forward to the next Horror Slam, and I hope that you're there. For those watching that don't know, Horror Slam is deathmatch wrestling, and it is picking up a lot of steam in our area, Boney, Michigan. Underground wrestling I've been following, not actively, let me start that over. I started following underground deathmatch wrestling in like 2000, maybe 2002, and then I've dropped off in recent years, but there's a lot of the same wrestlers from way back then that are still working the circuit, putting their lives on the line for our mere entertainment dollar. I super appreciate that. So next time they're in town, I'm gonna go watch some people get some light tubes broken over their head and thrown onto some thumbtacks. I've seen some pretty extreme death matches. Like conceptually speaking, there's like a barefoot thumbtack match that I watched. It's pretty intense. Razor wire ropes match, intense. Some of the spots that people are coming up with now are just like crazy. It'll turn your stomach if you're not in the right headspace, you know. I don't know why, but that's so fun for me. Okay. I'm already mixing up my brushes, I can tell, but that's alright. If they get too murky, I'll just clean them up. No harm, no foul, you know what I'm saying? So there's a little white section there, so fill up a little dark over here. Love it. I love to see it. Cool. I'm getting a shape that resembles something. It's so like abstract right now, these amorphous shapes that are like, you know, what am I looking at? I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's in the background. It's diffused out. I'm not meant to see this. And the more blurred, just as a discussion of contrast, the more blurred the background is, the more sharp the foreground is going to look later, because of that contrast in depth and in definition. So keeping this loose back here is paramount, because we need to make sure that it doesn't get too tight. If it gets too tight, like I could paint the foam of the beer in somebody's cup back there, but that would only serve to like damage the effect in the foreground. As far as brushes, tonight I'm just using a couple of filbert brushes. I got one big fat flat brush here. They're all rated for oil painting. The last painting I did, and I'll do it later on when we get to the hyper detailed stuff, but the last painting I did was a lot of smaller details and using whatever brush that I had that could do the job. Meaning if it was like a mixed media brush or oil brush or watercolor brush. But I'm gonna try to use all the oil brushes I have for this big piece. I saw my friend Joe today that we did the 34 or 35 hours or whatever on that last painting, and it was so fun, but I finally fell back at home last night, starting this large scale piece. because large scale has always been where my heart was at. And doing the small detail was an exercise in making it as difficult as I could for myself, because coming back into this medium, into the craft of oil painting after like a hiatus of 4 or 5 years, I didn't want it to be a dip your toe in the pool type thing. It was like crash course me. It'll come back, kind of like riding a bike. I got my 10,000 hours in oil painting, so it's not like I was gonna forget. I just had to reactivate that part of my brain that understands how to do this stuff. That's good for right there. I can actually flood this entire front of the helmet section right there. Same tone I could use above and over here, but then we're gonna really quickly get into some lighter purples right next to that. It's so trippy when you look at this too. I was staring at the last night's session on my phone, and it looked on my phone like it was like a blown up picture that was just blurred out, but then I could also see the crispness of the undersketch, and I was like, oh my god, this effect is going to work so good once we get the hyper detailed stuff in there. But I don't mind having to be patient on this. That's part of the game, and that's part of what we're here for. Okay, before I get into this weird amorphous mushroom shape, I'm going to put the next blue stanchion up here. It looks like they're fighting in the corner, so maybe like there's more stanchions, but I see one, like 1, 2, 3, 4, boom. So I'll put the blue stanchion up there, and that'll give me like a border within which to drop these tones. Build this out. There. Another vertical border there to work off of, so now we're going to come and work on stuff in here. Still got a little bit of this blue tone that's going to show here. These strokes can be a lot more abstractly placed. Still needs to make sure that the color is as close to your reference as possible, but it gives you some more, like I was saying earlier, some more forgiveness on how you put these strokes down. As long as it's there, it will, as long as the stroke's in the right place and the right color, it'll blend together. But you can get as like playful with the texture of your stroke as you want, or you can just smash it into the right spot. Insert joke here. Darkness of this section here. I feel like whenever I drop some like straight black on this, it really helps sell the depth of this audience. Love it. Body tones are so fun. I have no idea what this part here is supposed to be in the audience. In my reference, it looks pretty insane. In reference that you guys have, can't even tell what it is in that. I can't really tell. It's like my reference that I have in front of me is quite different than what you guys have up there, so that's fun. Artifact from the way that it printed, but I kind of like it, so let's roll with it. It just kind of gets up to like a moon shaped or a moon texture, like whiteness, like that kind of yellow tinginess that you'd see in the moon. But who or what is back here in the crowd? Who's to say? Don't know. We'll plug this stuff in, and that's where these amorphous shape will live. Cozy in the glass. Back down to some black. I'm gonna have to pour some more black out for tonight. Create this little shape behind this helmet here. I can't tell who this is. I feel like this is just an applicator. This could be Darren Helm. I don't think it is though, but I do see a 4. That could be a 42. I think he's 42. But I can't tell entirely. Free black. Oh yeah, so going back to this. So part of the reason why my reference on my paper here is going to be different than what you guys see on the screen above my head is because I did go in to Procreate, which is like a Photoshop type program on the iPad, and adjust a few things on the original photograph that the journalist had shot to better suit this oil painting. So the shape of whatever's going on here on this piece of paper, can't really tell what I'm looking at. That's fine. It'll all average out later when I blur everything, but there will be a couple things that look like anomalies on your end, but they make perfect sense on mine. All right, so let's get this next section in here, and I'm really close to finishing out the behind the glass part right here. Then I'll do a quick intermission and work on the ice. Or the boards after that. So on here, if my memory serves me correctly from what's on the photographed reference, this is like a group of like some training staff or maybe some arena staff that are standing off in the background here. But I have it very, very blurred out for my sharp focus realism purposes in my paper reference. This one for my fleshy tones. Let's brush here. And let me grab the little shadowy tones and I'll start blurring in edges of whatever these amorphous flesh shapes are. The trick with all of this is to just make sure to saturate the canvas and get rid of all those little white dots. You don't want anything peeking through. And easy way to do that is the easy way to remedy that is to remember the phrase paint on paint. Always push paint into other paint. You don't want to try to put things next to each other. You want to overlap just a little bit, just so that you can hide back the ground of the canvas. like that, we have what's likely a person's face. Just a few strokes and voila. Alright, so everything, this is like a nice blue patch, but all of this now is going to be a near black tone. So I will jump in with a dirty brush that already has a lot of liquid and a lot of pigment on it, and dip in a little bit of black, and then just start flooding this area. And I'll go back to my black and drop, and we'll get some varying tones of like some gray and some murkiness, but that'll give us a cool field of color that's super dark but isn't necessarily just straight black all the way through. So we can pick up the inconsistencies of the paint that's still stuck in the paintbrush. This is the back of a red and white jersey here, so that means that the darker this background spot right here, the more contrast it'll be, so that'll be better for the overall effect. I got no problem with that. Fun. Okay, so we got some bigger fleshy tones up here that are blurred out, so let me go ahead and jump in and drop some shapes there. Knock down the chromatic value on that, so I'm going to add a little bit of purple and a tiny little bit of this black. Just mud that down, beautiful. Continue carrying that over this way. And it's dark above that, and then fleshy on the inside of that, so. Yeah. Whatever that is. Here. And again, I'm not afraid for any of these strokes to run into one another or each other, however I want to say English words. I'm not afraid for them to bump in or to intermix or to get kind of sloppy, because we're going to be blending all this together in a couple minutes anyway. It's a very satisfying moment of being able to obliterate all of these shapes, turn it into one out of focus trick. Pocket of some kind of human head. We'll go right from that black tone and just use some progressively lighter flesh tones that were pre-mixed already. And I pre-mixed based off of my reference photo on the actual photograph, not on the paper version. I looked at the actual photograph to get all my flesh tones mixed up, and then the paper version has the same people in the background, just a little bit more diffused, blurred out. Makes it easier for me to keep everything in line that way. Alright, let's keep flooding this background. This looks like a mess in this corner, but we're definitely getting close to something rad. Lot brighter of a blue here. Excuse me. Drop those strokes, just kind of mat them in. So I don't want it to mix with the other pigment on this brush. Pick it up off the tip of the messy brush. Sweet. And up here there's a little bit more fused out blues. Not much, but a little bit. Probably just some fans wearing some Tampa Bay jerseys, right? Got another little fleshy shape here. Another fleshy movement over here. That one gets super blurred out. Just let this be a nice big messy section. It's gonna get pushed mostly into black. Clean off my brush down here. Weave some darkness in throughout here. You guys are having a fun time. I've had people like sending me like, you're gonna be the new Bob Ross. I think that's fun. I don't know if I have like as many words of wisdom now. I think I have a decent amount of technique to offer that Bob Ross would never offer, but I think I'm gonna be on any bumper stickers many times. It's a nice muddy section. Pick up some warm tones in here because I don't really have. I'm just gonna selectively drop some more purpley colors in here just because I want it to be a little bit more like how these are. And again, regardless of if that's on my reference or not, it just feels like in the act of painting, I'm noticing that that's something that I need. I need it right here. Helps balance the palette out of what these colors are. Beautiful. I love these tones. Sounds like the pizza dude's here. It's alright, I'll wrap up the stream after I finish blocking in all of this glass section here, and then we will obliterate it and blend it all out. The really satisfying fun part, and then we'll wrap up after that. Sound good? Sound good. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I've been keeping my ear open and paying attention. Pizza guy's lost, so I gotta keep an ear out for the kiddos and make sure they're all safe. sleep overnight means pizza night, right? That's just how it works. Getting all cavalier with how much paint I load up on my brush because we're at the final corner here, and I'm not going to need these tones after tonight, so I get to really throw down some thick brush strokes. Creak, 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 creak. Good stuff. Big moves, good stuff going down. Blue's gonna come this way. To save some blue for the crossbeam and the likely Bud Light logo right there. I got plenty of paint here. Okay. Just muttering to myself, no worries. Not necessarily fleshy tones, but I can't tell what they are. So flesh brush, pop that in. Messy. Blend all this stuff together. Just a little bit more blue here. And we can start blending all this glass tone together. But actually, I think I might need the stanchion as well. Yeah, or not the stanchion, but the cross, but the cross beam there. I don't know. I'm very excited for Tyree to get us some new music, some new loops for the background audio. Instead of the same piano tune looping over and over again, I believe, we haven't talked about this, I just know Tyree. I believe he's going to give me a lot of stuff, and we'll have like probably like a 15-minute mega mix that can just cycle through and be much less boring. Okay, so now I need to put in just a couple tones here, some blue and some light blue to finish out that railing. Goes right here. It's funny to think that I would have avoided this because I was so excited to get into blending the rest of it. It's going to take 5 seconds. And just these little bits. And that's going to go down to a much lighter blue, so I'm just going to mix it with white here. Or, I mean, just dip straight white. Maintain somewhat of a straight line right there. Cool, and then straight white goes right below that. Even though the canvas is white, we need some kind of pigment on the canvas for everything to blend smoothly. So you're like, why are you doing white on top of white? Because I need it, okay? Okay, fine. Alright, so we're good there. Now I get to do the fun part. Grab a big old brush. I have stiff bristle gesso brush here, and then a really soft bristled painting brush here, nice big one. I will go back and forth between the two. Let me mute my other camera. I don't want you to have to stare at my big old belly the whole time. Alright, there we go. Alright. So I'm just going to do some up and down strokes here. I'm going to run over the whole thing with up and down, vertical blending strokes. Minimal pressure, just enough to get the paint to move a little bit. So one color morphs into the adjacent tone. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to blend it the other way. Cross hatch. Helps remove some of the brush strokes from the first patch. And then once this part is done, I'll do X strokes, meaning I'll go and make X's. And this is just to get rid of any kind of shape of like the direction of the paint. And then once this is all done, then I'm going to come through with that nice big soft brush and fine tune the little areas of blending. So beautiful. Nice can possibly get. It looks like, because it's hard to tell because it's still wet from last night, I can still see like a pretty obvious line of demarcation here. So I'm going to really put pressure down to obliterate that line. To pull new paint into dried paint. Oh, gorgeous. Gorgeous. Super happy. Straight down on these vertical stanchions. Maintain the verticality. Similarly to the horizontal here. Sweet. There are a couple little bristles that popped off. That always happens. Pick those out. And then I'm going to go through now with this nice soft brush. Just fine tune some little spots that I want to make sure uber blended. Minimal pressure. Just enough to get the paint to move around a little bit. Because any like hard edge that might show up will contribute to the believability disappearing in the background. So we want it to be as smooth as possible and diffused and out of focus as possible. How light do we press? As Bob Ross would say, just 2 hairs and some air. Even though they look nice, like light coming through the glass. Like if you have astigmatism and you see those sprites coming out of headlights at night. Here. Hello again. And let's pull the camera back and do a little tour of what we got going on here. So 2 days worth of efforts there. That was yesterday's. Like I keep saying, the most boring section, quote unquote, of the painting. This is really satisfying to me. You see this blurred effect. And then you see it as compared to the sharpness here. You can already kind of see the effect, right? How crisp the foreground will ultimately be. How blurred that icy surface and audiences. That is super cool. Super slick. Awesome. Thank you so much for swinging by, for hanging out with me. This is super fun. If you dig it, give the video a like. If you really dig what we're doing, give us a subscribe. Sounds pretty fun, right? Cool. Thank you so much. I will see you guys next time. Probably won't be too long in the future.